Well, it's week 2, and the Browns are 2-0, the Ravens are 0-2, and the Commies are 0-2. What more craziness can happen in week 3? Let's go ahead and dive into Flip of Fate for week 3. For those of you guys who have not been keeping up with the series, brief synopsis. I'm Jason, I flip coin decides NFL matchup. Games are over here, let's go ahead and dive into week 3. Alright, so this first game will bring us to the Miami Dolphins going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Heads is for the home team, tails is for the away team. Who gets the win? It's all the way over here, but it is going to be a heads for the Bills. Alright, now we got the Atlanta Falcons going to Carolina to take on the Panthers. And that one is going to be a foul. It landed on the keyboard. That is out of bounds. Giving it another flip. Once again, who will get the win? Well, it looks like Carolina's streak is going to come to an end with a Falcons victory. All right, up next we got the Green Bay Packers going to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Can the Browns continue on their 2-0 season to go 3-0? Unfortunately, that tail says no. Packers win. All right, now we got the Houston Texans going to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. A critical match early in the season for the AFC South. And the Jaguars get a win. All right, moving up now to the Great White North. The Cincinnati Bengals going to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. This is a huge one for Cincinnati. They are down 0-2 in the AFC North. And they do get a huge win there with that tails. All right, speaking of the AFC North, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 2-0 somehow, going to New England to take on the Patriots. Can the Steelers keep this streak alive? Does this mean Aaron Rodgers is coming to the Steelers? I don't know, but they just got another win. They're 3-0. All right, now we got the Los Angeles Rams going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, hoping to get revenge after last season's 2 losses. Can they avenge it? Unfortunately, with that heads, they do not. Eagles win. All right, now we got the New York Jets going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Can the Jets get a win? It does not look like it. The Buccaneers instead will get a huge win in the AFC South, or NFC South. All right, now we got the Indianapolis Colts going to Tennessee to take on the Titans. These two tied in the middle of the pack for the AFC South. A big game for both of them, but it looks like Cam Ward will get a win against the Colts. All right, now we got the Las Vegas Raiders going to Washington to take on the Commanders. Can Jaden Daniels and his group of commie friends get their first win of the season? Let's see, we got a big spinner. Is it going to be a commies win? Oh my word, it is a commies loss with that tails. Raiders win and the commies are 0-3. All right, now we got the Denver Broncos going to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. This game, a little bit more of a relevant game, but still early in the season, a lot of games left. So this game is big for both teams, and it looks like the Broncos will get a big win here. All right, now we got the New Orleans Saints going up to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Big one in the West because the Seahawks need to get something to come back a little bit. But it looks like the Saints get a big win there with that tails. All right, now we got the Dallas Cowboys and their duo of receivers in Pickens and Lamb getting ready to go to Chicago to take on the Bears. Can Ben Johnson get his first win? It looks like he's going to have to wait another week as the Cowboys win on that tails. All right, now we got a battle for last in the West. 3 weeks in, the Arizona Cardinals going to San Fran to take on the Niners. Can the Cardinals get a win and get out of the cellar? Or will the Niners keep putting them back in their place? And it looks like with this tails, the Cardinals will win. All right, up next we go to a rather inconsequential game early in the season between the Chiefs and the Giants. This one happening in New York, in the home of the Giants. That one went behind the monitor, stayed on the desk, so it stayed in play. And the Giants will get a big win with that heads. All right, and the last game for this video will be between the Detroit Lions and Baltimore Ravens. But before we do, hold off. Don't leave this video after this flip because we will go over all of the standings after this week. So make sure you go ahead and stay tuned. And let's go ahead and get this flip going. The Lions are going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Huge one for Baltimore as they're down tied for last in the AFC North. And they will get a big win with that heads. Alright, so over here is a brief synopsis of the games this week. The teams in green won, teams in white lost. So let's go ahead and take a look at our updated standings after this week. So picking out the things of note, the Patriots and Jets still winless through 3 games. The Bills we kind of expect being where they are. The Steelers are somehow at 3-0. They're staring down the barrel of what could be 0-3, not 3-0. But we'll let the coin do what the coin does. The Ravens somehow at 1-2, still losing a lot. The AFC South, not really surprising, except for maybe the Texans at 0-3, but I could potentially see it. I mean, the Texans are very... I want the Texans to be good, but they can be very hit or miss week to week. The AFC West, the Raiders alone atop, which is kind of coming out of the blue. Looking at the NFC, we got the Eagles, no big surprise there, but the Commanders at 0-3 through 3 weeks is very shocking. Very shocking. The Bears still waiting on their first win in the NFC North. The Saints on top of the NFC South, kind of surprisingly at 3-0. And the NFC West, I mean, this is a reasonable one, except for maybe San Francisco. They could be 2-1 very easily. I could see the Rams at 2-1 because they really have been looking good. They added well to that core. But ultimately, this is what the coin thinks. I can't really add too much to this because, again, we are still very early in the season. Still a wee bit too early to do some playoff seeding. So, we'll go ahead and take a look at that in the coming weeks. But if you guys did like, don't forget to smash like and subscribe because it does help me out a whole lot. Also, if you have not seen this series, there will be a playlist down over in that opposite corner. You can go ahead and check out that playlist to see all 3 weeks so far of content. And right below me is where you can subscribe if you'd like. And I guess... also, heads up, I will be streaming a lot more hockey. I have been enjoying watching hockey. Finally got the setup downstairs set up where we can live stream coverage of games with the TV in front of me with a couple of automations. So, a little bit of fun piece there, a little bit of fun coding magic there. And I guess with that, I will catch you guys later. Peace out and have a good one.